Hello everybody, welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. So today we're talking about another Star Trek episode from Strange New Worlds. This is Season 2, Episode 7, and it's called Those Old Scientists, which of course is a play on TOS, the abbreviation for the original series. Just kind of an in-joke. And from that, I think you can tell that this is a silly episode. It is very, very silly. And I've made it pretty clear over the time that I've been making these videos that silly Star Trek is not really my thing, but that doesn't mean I hate it, you know? Like, the episode is just fine. It's got some really great moments. It's got some really very silly moments. It's all right. It's all right. We've already kind of talked about in length how, personally, I would prefer a little more science fiction in Star Trek rather than kind of soap opera or comedy. But this episode is all right. It's not my favorite. It's not the worst, I don't think. I'm going to have to do some kind of a top 10 list or something before the next season comes out. It'll probably have to be top 5. Because they've only made 20 episodes. Because TV doesn't work the same anymore, I guess. Which seems crazy to me because I feel like by the time season 3 hits, no one will even remember what the show was, to be perfectly honest. I also feel like having so few episodes makes people able to subscribe, watch the episodes, and then unsubscribe, rather than kind of getting addicted to the channel and remaining subscribed because you watched 36 episodes of Star Trek over 36 weeks. And now it's, summertime or whatever, whenever that break would come. It's the off season, so you watch something else, and then once Star Trek's back, you just start watching again. But this gap was just huge between these two seasons. And of course, there was a writer's strike and an actor's strike. That obviously is a big factor in all of this. But I feel this way for other shows that weren't separated by the actor's strike. I feel like you'll watch a season of something, then they'll decide if they want to go ahead and approve it for a second season. Then that will go into the works. And then a year to a year and a half later, you'll get 8 more episodes, right? Which is just crazy. I mean, it's not, I don't know, there's no hype. There's no hype for it. They try to build it in between, but no, there's no way. But, sorry, back on topic here. Those Old Scientists. It was very, very fun. They did an excellent job of the humor in this. I really enjoyed it. It was weird to have a crossover of a cartoon to a live action show because they just brought in the actors, so if you're really attached to the way they look in the cartoon, it could be kind of jarring, I believe, to see the actual people sounding like them and acting like them, of course, but not looking like them, really. You know what I mean? It was kind of strange. The strangest one for me was probably Mariner. I think that she looks the most different, even though she looks incredibly similar to what she looks like in the cartoon. For some reason, to me, Mariner, I was like, wow, that person looks really different, I don't know. But they did a great job of it. They, of course, open it with the cartoon, and then they cut to the Strange New World opening credits, and that's been animated, which is kind of fun to see. They put the monster stuck on the end of the ship, for part of it, and then it flies off. They put the koala in it, so just some jokes from the cartoon they put into Strange New Worlds, which was pretty silly. And then you get into the episode proper. Of course, what happens is the cartoon takes place in the future, so a couple cast members from that go into the past onto the Enterprise of the Strange New Worlds crew. And hilarity ensues, of course. And there are a couple really shining moments in this goofiness. Biggest one for me, honestly, is Spock and Boimler. Those two, when they're doing the scene where they're trying to recreate the material that the time machine needs in order to function. And they're having that conversation back and forth. It is hysterical. I can't believe when Spock's like, "Do you feel lucky?" And then he gives him that weird smile. And he's like, "No, no, I don't." And then of course everything starts blowing up. It's genius. It truly is. It's a moment that's one of my favorite comedy scenes from the show. I think it's hysterical watching that. And there is serious stuff in here too. I also enjoy kind of the Nurse Chapel Spock stuff, but I have to talk about that for a minute because I believe it's a brilliant choice that's kind of bad for the show. So what they did is they had Boimler go into the past, meet Spock, and realize that the Spock that he's meeting is not the Spock he's read about. That if Spock stays on the path that he is on, he will destroy the future. So Boimler explains this to Nurse Chapel, and that makes her very upset. And he explains it to Spock. Of course, we don't get any reaction out of Spock for it, but he takes it in. So this, to me, is a brilliant reason as to why Spock and Nurse Chapel are not together in the original series. Because I've always wondered about that, you know. I feel like there was always an attraction there in the original series, but they never did anything with it. And I do believe that Spock gives explanations every once in a while when it comes up. But I've never really felt like, oh, that makes total sense. You know what I mean? And then I feel like that was made even more extreme when we got Strange New Worlds, and those two clearly were going to be together for a while. It really makes you wonder, like, if they were together and they're still attracted to each other later when they don't have any significant others, why aren't they getting together? And I believe the answer of because it would destroy the future is a brilliant answer. I love that. My problem is this is 16 episodes in. This is the second season. If we're going to get 7 seasons, which I really hope we do, I hope they can keep the hype train going long enough to get us at least 70 episodes. We'll see. If they go that long and Spock and Nurse Chapel can't be together at all, it's just going to be like the original series again. I feel like they have really, really shot themselves in the foot with this very popular idea that they're playing with. And that really worries me because I'm not sure what their relationship is going to be in the next 5 seasons since they cannot go back to that. You know, and maybe they'll find ways around it. I don't know. But I really believe that it is the perfect answer. They honestly should have done that in season 7, you know. And I know it probably comes out of the idea that this could be the last one we write, so we might as well just do it now. You know, a kind of weird idea that it doesn't really matter because there's no big plan for the future. So we're just doing whatever people seem to enjoy right at the moment, and then we'll wait a year and see what happens and maybe do another one. We don't know. And that kind of attitude just really, I think it really hurts the show because there's no effort being put in to really make it last. And it has been a while since I've watched it. Hopefully, once we get an announcement for the 3rd season, which I hope we do soon, we know they're making it. I just hope we get some kind of movement on the thing. Once we get that, I'll go back and look at them again, and I'll be able to say, I was wrong. I feel like there's a lot of, effort put into this and this and this. And I know they're putting effort in. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this episode looks incredible. And it's just a blast to watch. It truly is really fun. But it needs to be more than that in order to keep going. I really feel like it needs to be a lot more than that. And there are 2 things they could do to make sure that it became more. Number 1 is do more episodes. And number 2 is don't wait so long. Have a future plan. Be able to say, we're going to do 7 seasons of this. And I know they probably got burned with Discovery. I know they probably said, we're definitely going to do at least 4 seasons. And they signed a bunch of contracts, and then they went in and they got going, and it didn't do as well as they thought it was going to do. So they probably felt that. But when you see the success of the first season of a show like this, you can sign some contracts. It's not a big deal. To be so gun shy with Star Trek. What are you doing, Gowron? Gowron's mad about Star Trek. I also know that the budgets are really high for these episodes. I think they could lower those a bit. I know that's crazy to say, because it does look incredible. It is a very beautiful show, but it doesn't have to be, you know? I hate to say that, but save it for the movie, you know? Make a TV show. Honestly, just buckle down. Make a ton of episodes. Get everybody used to the fact that it's there. That's it. Watch it. Yeah, I don't know. I keep getting sidetracked on this. This was a good episode. I did enjoy it. It was just a little bit silly, and I feel like they might have shot themselves in the foot with that brilliant choice. But overall, I really did enjoy it. I do want to bring up another part that I didn't love as much as I could, and that was Pike talking about his dad. Pike has a lot of baggage right now. Like, he's got his future to deal with. He's got people that he knows are going to die. He already knows their names. He knows that he's going to get all mangled and crazy. It is plenty for a Star Trek show. We don't need to know that much about our adventurers. The more we know about them, the more it sort of goes into soap opera land and kind of veers away from science fiction, right? And I really watch this show for the science fiction. I want to meet the weird aliens. I want to see the wacky stories that they come up with and show us each week. I really don't get that invested in what the characters ate for lunch. You know what I mean? I really don't care. And Pike bringing up his dad in this episode, which is just out of nowhere. You know, I don't know if they're just playing stereotypes and thinking he's from the West. He must have been brought up in a rough situation, or I don't know what they're thinking, you know, but they just decided that Pike has daddy issues. You know, he's mad at his dad, but his dad passed away and now he can't fix it. And I don't know. Like, we just don't need any of that. I mean, if you really need to give us more Pike past time, then just go to the stuff you've already created. Right now is relationships in a lot of trouble. You know, there's no reason they couldn't have said that he was planning to go spend time with his significant other. That totally could have been the reason he wasn't going. Or he could have literally said, I know what's going to happen to me in the future. I don't want to get too close to anybody. Whatever, you know. But to just add more suggests to me that the writers are still kind of creating these roles, which they are. In all fairness, this is only the 17th episode or whatever. They are still creating these roles. But the fact that we're at the end of the second season, I honestly believe they should have gotten through all this by now. You know, I believe it's just an indication of a lack of interaction between the writers and the characters and the actors and the directors. You know, they just haven't worked together enough. And having that huge break between 1 and 2, between the first 10 and the second 10, doesn't help it at all, you know. So I felt really weird about kind of meeting this new character Pike with daddy issues, and I don't know. It sort of came out of nowhere and was strange. But once again, I keep saying this, it was fine. It really was. It truly is a lot of fun, to be honest. It's very silly. It's very fun. And I know we're going into something dark next. The next one I think is called Under the Cloak of War. So that should be interesting. But I really, really hope that in the third season we can just do some Star Trek stuff. I just want to fly around. We've done some war stuff already, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? We've done some of that. We've done a bunch of silliness. I'd like to do some exploring. I'd like to see some strange new worlds. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. This is just kind of a silly episode that we could throw in at the end of the week. I do want to get through all of these so that by the time the third season comes out, I can just focus on that. If you did like this, please hit the like button and make sure to subscribe because we have so much stuff like this. And of course, we're going to keep going. We're doing more and more and more. And have a great day.